Well, I guess first you'll need to open up your Chromebook, and then you'll go to your programs. Then down here in the bottom left, you see you got the circle, because you won't see these programs, but if you click on the circle down here, you will. This one. And when you click on that circle, it'll open up this programs for you. And the one we need is the same one we used last time, which is the same one we're going to need next time, which is going to be the final assignment for the term. But that's the text program. So the text program, you're going to click on this, it will take you to the text program. You'll keep in mind as well that the programs that we need are all here. Later on when we need to check what our website looks like, we'll use the files program, the files, to see what our website looks like so we can test it out. All right? But we're going to go to text right here, and that takes us to the text. Now, I've already put in the code for the template. And for those of you that copied and pasted this into an email, you can just find that email, copy and paste that code into this text file, and it'll show up. But even before that, maybe it'd be good to save this as, okay? So, if you click on Save As, we're going to rename this file because right now, being in the text program, it wants us to save as a text file. But we don't want a text file. We want an HTML file. I'm not going to name this template file either, but click on Save As, and this will open the save box, which looks something like this. Okay, so again, I'm not naming this template. The assignment is called the lists assignment, so I'm going to name it lists.html, and hopefully this kind of helps you to see that. So I'm going to name the file lists.html, not txt. If you have .txt right here, it's going to jack things up. Well, it's not going to jack things up, but it's just not going to pull up a web page, which we want for this assignment. You will not be able to submit a txt file in the Canvas. It will not accept it, so don't do it. Right now, while you have this Save As box open, name it .html, and then lists right there. Once you get that in there, then all you need to do is go to the right side of the box and click on Save, and it will save it for you into your files. Well, your Google Drive anyways. So once you hit Save there in the Save box, it will go back to the text program. And again, this code, if you did not copy and paste this code into an email which you sent to yourself, which hopefully you did, but if you didn't, then you have to go back right now and retype in all of the code. All right, now that means I'm talking character by character, because like we talked about last time, if you mess up any of the characters, it's going to mess up your code. It's going to mess up your website and what comes out, okay? So if that's you, if you didn't do that, that's fine. Just you got a little bit of work ahead of you just to get this stuff down into your HTML file here, okay? The code. And yes, by saving as, it did change the name into list.html. The asterisk, remember, this is just to show us that we have not saved it yet. And what's nice about having saved this as already as an HTML file, as a new file, is now, in order to save this, all I got to do is click Save and then find this file when I need to submit it. Or if I want to see my web page, okay? So you can click Save as many times as you'd like. You can click this whenever you like, and then it will save the code that you have. Of course, if I click Save, it doesn't change the code because I haven't put any code in, extra code, all right? So list assignment means we're going to be making some lists, which we don't have yet, but we'll get there. Let's start with the title. So up here in the title, we've got the meta tag up here, and we're going to title that. So just enter a title with your name, and then put favorite things or something like that. Okay, because we're going to make two lists of our favorite things, some favorite things. So for example, me, I put Mr. Sal's favorite things. Of course, you wouldn't put Mr. Sal because you're not Mr. Sal. You put your name, okay? But again, you don't have to necessarily put favorite things. You could put something like it as well as your title. If you just want to put your first name, that's okay. If you just want to put your last name, that's okay. Both is okay. If for some reason you feel the need to put your middle name, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. Now, we should kind of review this stuff because this coding thing is new for us. But remember the HTML right here, we have a beginning and end to it, right? Remember, the beginning is just HTML. The end is a slash in front of whatever we're ending. But even if I had nothing in between HTML and the /HTML elements here, it would at least allow me to put code in between. Now we do have code in between. For example, the head, which is the meta tag at the title of the web page, in between that we have a title, right? So the title is part of the head. Okay, so whatever starts, where you find the end, anything in between that is part of that element. So in this case, the head and the end of the head, you have the element, the title, and then the end of the title. But the title itself, you have a beginning and an end, okay? And then anything in between that I can type in, which should show up as part of the title. Okay, so this is going to be the title of our web page. The body is kind of like the main portion of the web page. And of course, anything inside the body where we begin it and end it is part of the body. So even though I have a level 1 header in the paragraph that I could put into the body, they're blank, so it's not going to show anything. But even if I didn't have these here, it would still show blank. Okay, but having those elements in there, the H1 and the P, so the level 1 header in the paragraph, allows me to put stuff in there. So going back to the title, allows me to put some information here about the title. And I just say Mr. Sal's favorite things. There it is. And notice the way that I have this, the title that I put in there, Mr. Sal's favorite things, is showing up in black. That's a different color than the element, the title, and then the end of the title, or the head, or the body, or whatever. It's black because it's telling me, hey, I'm going to put this on your web page, whatever you type in here. Okay, so I could misspell something, by the way. It doesn't care. It doesn't have spell check for me. It's just going to put whatever I put right there, okay? And it's going to put whatever you put right there as long as your code is correct. Now that I have that, Mr. Sal's favorite things, again, we could show the page, like we could save this and show the page, but I'm going to wait. We are going to make a level 1 heading on this, but I'm going to center it. And I'm going to use the center, I say command, but you could call it an element, whatever. But I'm going to put center right here, so it's going to center on my web page the level 1 heading. Okay, and the center command is just this. Remember, it's a center, but I have to have the brackets around it. Just like you see all these other elements have to have the brackets around them as well. Okay? So you're going to see, I'm going to change this. It's going to be H1, and then it's going to show center. H1, and then the center. Boom. Okay, so whatever I put now after the center is going to center that on my web page, in the body of the web page. Now on your computer, you may have, like I've started a center element right here, or command. It may show over here like /center, and if it does, that's okay. It just means that everything in between what you have for center and then the end of a center will center it. Okay, but for me, since I've made the center part of the level 1 heading command or element, when I end the level 1 heading element, it will also end the center command, okay? Now, along those lines, too, I should mention this. Some of you, when you start an element, like if you put in a head element right here, it will automatically put the end of head element right next to it. So you may have to enter, put some space in between that. You'll push enter. Or you just, like, for the title, if you pushed in the title with the brackets, it'll automatically push end of title right next to it. So you just put your cursor in between that and then type whatever you need to type in there, okay? So going back to my level 1 header, I've centered it. And so on my web page, it will be centered. It's going to have the level 1 heading format, but it will be centered on my web page. And now I'm ready to type in whatever I need to after I put the center. Now keep this in mind, where I put this command to center it can affect the entire web page. For example, if I type in body right here and then I push center, I'm pretty much telling the program center the entire body. Okay? If I were to put center after the paragraph command here, it would only center the paragraph. Okay? So you have to be careful where you put these things, because everything has a beginning and end on this, except for me. I didn't need to center it, but or end the center. But all the other elements, that you should have a beginning and then you should have an end. Okay? Everything in between the beginning and end essentially becomes part of that element. So let's go and put this in. Your level 1 heading, just put something about your list of your favorite things. Okay, so I think I put things that Mr. Cell likes, things that I like, my favorite things. These are my favorite things, something like that. And you don't have to use my exact wording. You don't have to use my exact wording, but you need to have something to that effect. We're gonna make 2 lists of our favorite things. So we're starting our level 1 heading saying, hey, we're going to put in some favorite things on this. There you go. I put these are my favorite things. But again, it's between the end of not just the level 1 header, but the center. So again, the center command is saying, hey, take these are my favorite things, and center that on the web page. And then I end my level 1 heading. All right? So I've entered my level 1 heading. Now I am ready to put in the 2 lists. Now from the template we have the paragraph command or element right here. So we're saying, yeah, we want a paragraph, but since we're making 2 lists, we don't want a paragraph. So I'm going to get rid of this garbage, the P and the end of P garbage, and I'm going to replace it with this garbage instead. Not only am I going to replace it with this garbage, but remember I said we're going to make 2 lists. So we got to take all this garbage right here and do it twice. Okay? So I'm going to take, instead of the paragraph element, I'm going to put in a level 2 heading element, which looks like this. Okay, so I'm just showing I changed the paragraph element into a level 2 heading element. But 2 of them. And you'll keep in mind that H2 is very similar to H1, but it's not H1, which means on the web page, your level 2 heading will be in a different format. Both of these level 2 headings will be in a different format than your level 1 heading. Level 1 headings are a little bit bigger, they're a little bit more bold. Okay? But at least having this code in allows me now to put in my headers, my level 2 headings for these. All right? So let's put in some titles or labels there for our level 2 headings. So the first level 2 heading here, which I have in blue, I put my name and then favorite foods. I actually put my name, Mr. Sal's 5 favorite foods, because my list is going to have 5 items in the list. So the first list will be your favorite foods. The second list will be your favorite activities. So that'll be my name, Mr. Sal's. I put Mr. Sal's 5 favorite activities, because I'm only putting in 5 items in the list. And then once I get that in there, I click on save, and then I can find my HTML file, and then I can open it as a web page. So it'll open up in your browser. When I put that in there, right? So my first level 2 heading, Mr. Sal's 5 favorite foods. The second level 2 heading, Mr. Sal's 5 favorite activities. This is what it shows me. Okay. Now again, it's not showing the 2 lists because I haven't put in anything in there. But at least we can see, right? You got the meta tag up here, the title of the web page. We have the level 1 heading, which is in a different format than the level 2 headings, and it is centered. We told it to be centered. We don't want these centered. If right now you're looking at these 2 and they're centered, jacked it up. You got to find out why it's jacked up. Chances are you either didn't end the center command or you put it in the wrong place. Okay. So I'm now going to make my lists: 5 favorite foods, 5 favorite activities. Again, if this does not show up quite like this, whatever you typed in, then you made a mistake somewhere. You got to find out where you made your mistake. And that does mean that in your code, you got to check character by character. And you'll see the more code that we add, the more difficult it is to find those. And it will take you some time to find those. So what I've done here, before I get to my first list, is I had my two level 2 headings here. I've given myself some space in between so I can put my list in there. And even after the second level 2 heading, I've given myself some space here so that I can put my list in there, okay? Now, under the first one, which is Mr. Sal's 5 favorite foods, I have a UL element. And then down here, we have the end of the UL element. Again, everything after the UL element is part of the list. UL is an unordered list, which means every element that I put into this list is going to be bulleted because it's unordered. Actually, that brings up a good question. So it's a good time right now, because it's always a good time, to point out common errors, okay? So a common error is students, not only today, but in the past as well, instead of doing H1, they'll do H lowercase l, okay? And I know they're very similar looking, and it's not like it's really large on the board here, but that's an H1, okay? Or this one, that's UL, it's not U1. So, and then make sure you're not capitalizing these either. But again, UL is an unordered list, which means it's bulleted because it's not in any specific order. Now, if you put it in a specific order, like the top one is my favorite food, that's fine. It's bulleted, so we don't necessarily know that unless you state it specifically. And that's where our second list comes in, Mr. Sal's 5 favorite activities. This second list we are going to order. And to do that, we're going to use the O, that's the letter O, L element, okay? So, OL is for ordered list. Ordered means it's going to be numbered. And every element that I put into the OL list will be numbered. That also means that I don't have to put the numbers in there. This coding, this HTML coding, the OL element says to number any elements in the list as well, okay? You can probably see this as well. Both of these lists have 5 empty lines of code for me to put stuff in. That's because, like you see for the titles of these, they're 5 favorite things. So I've left 5 extra lines there for me to put in my lists. Now, my lists are 5 items, but some students have done 10 items. That means they've done 20 total items, right? Some students have just done 15. In order to get full credit, you have to have a minimum of 5, though. So if you're like, I don't want full credit, then I don't really care what you do. But it'd just be less than 5, okay? But full credit will be 5. If you want to do more than that because you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. I mean, it does make you a nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd, but I don't care. But, yeah, you can do more than that if you'd like, okay? Maybe you have things that you just really like. I don't know. Yeah, those are good questions, which means you're excited about this coding stuff. Now we know how nerdy you are. I mean, I like this stuff, so I'm a nerd. But yeah, it's going to be a whole new element, right? So UL, this is a new element for us, the whole UL thing. Even the H2 is kind of new for us. OL is new for us, but we're going to have another new element for us. And, I mean, I hope this doesn't seem like it's too hard. It's very basic stuff. So let's take a look at those. All right, so this it's an LI. Again, it's not 1I. It's not 1, 1. It's not L1. Trying to think of any other not good combos here. But that's LI. It's an LI list element. And then, of course, it's got the end of the list element right there, too, okay? Now, why do we have to do this 5 times? Because it's its own element in the list. Meaning I have to do this 5 times because, again, I'm doing 5 favorite foods. And then down here, I've got to do it 5 times because those are my 5 favorite activities. Once I get those in there, and notice I haven't actually typed anything in there except some space. But I haven't typed anything in there. I'll get to that. And again, it has to be between the beginning and end of each list element. But just with what I have right now, each of these items in the list, these list items, elements, will create, for the unordered list, this will create a bullet point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 list elements for my unordered list. Means if I were to pull up my webpage, I'll show you this. The web page will have 5 bullet points and all 5 will be empty. Now down here for the ordered list, we have, again, 5 list elements here. They're blank though, so it will number these. Notice, you can see right here, I didn't put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it will do that for me. I don't have to worry about that. It will do it for me, and we'll get to putting stuff in our entries. We'll put our entries in here in a second. But first, before that, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to click on Save, and then I'm going to pull this web page that I have up. There it is. So for my 5 favorite foods, again, I haven't listed anything, but remember the space there is showing that I at least want 5 bullet points. Or for my 5 favorite activities, which is an ordered list, oh well, element. Again, I didn't put these numbers there. The program did. The coding put that there for us. Thank you for that, program. It saved me a little work. But now that I have these here, I'm ready to put in whatever I want for my activities and foods. So one last thing about this web page that I have up, if there's anything, like if it's not showing you bullet points, you jacked it up. You got to go through character by character where you jacked it up. You got to find out where it is. Same with the numbers. If you didn't get the numbers there, maybe you got the bullets, but you don't have the numbers. Okay, you got to find out where it got jacked up. Okay. Now, usually you can, hopefully you're kind of understanding that you can kind of go through code in a chronological way. So let's say, for example, like we got our level 1 heading here. Let's say that this one was in the level 1 heading format. Maybe it's not centered though. Well, if that were the case, then I could backtrack to my level 1 heading, which is good, in the code, and then follow that down to my level 2 heading and see somewhere in there, somewhere between those two, something has to have gone wrong. So again, that's a character by character analysis. You got to kind of debug that in your head because we don't have a program that's going to do that right now. Okay. But again, I've got my 2 lists. One is bolted, one is numbered, and I'm ready to put those things in there. So there are my favorite things. And by the way, some students get real, scared about this stuff. I'm not going to go to your parents and be like, is this a real list? Because if it's not, -5. Okay, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to track you down and find out for sure if this is true. Just be an adult about this and keep it appropriate. But put whatever you want in here. Now, right, so the first list, for example, we're saying, hey, 5 favorite foods. Don't put football. Like, it should make sense, you know what I'm saying? Or down here, my 5 favorite activities is shoes. I don't understand what that is. Like, is shoes an activity? Like spoons or something? I don't know. So make sure it's an activity. So yours will be different than mine, of course, because, I'm Mr. Sal and you're not, and you're probably grateful for that. But whatever you're going to put in here, all right? Now, you'll notice again that in between the list elements is stuff in black, which means that these things are going to show up on my web page, this stuff that's showing in black in the code. So there's a difference. For the most part, there's a difference on your computers as well between what I have in green and what I'm showing in black. And yeah, some students have changed the background to be black, and then for example, what I have in black letters here would show up as white for you. I don't really care about that. But sometimes what will happen is the code, sometimes it'll change the color. Like this one, it goes from green to black, and then we see it goes black until it comes back to the end of that level 2 heading element. If this was by chance black, then I would know that there's probably something wrong in between what should be green and what should be black. So sometimes the colors will help you to understand where there's been an error that's been made. Sometimes. I've seen some of the students have been asking, and sometimes what will happen is they'll forget the slash right there, and then it'll show this H2 in red, for example. Okay, or they'll do a slash H2, and then for some reason they've done another slash H2 right there, and again it's showing as red. So sometimes red means, hey, you did something bad. Sometimes it's just part of the code, which I'll show you. We got a little bit of red coloring in here too. Now with this is pretty good. I've got 10 items, 5 for each list, and each of them are within their own list element. So if I were to click save right now, I should be able to go to my web page and then see the lists. So again, I have a bulleted list. This is an unordered list, a UL element. And then I have an OL, an ordered list, which is, again, I didn't put these numbers in. It just automatically puts those in there for me. Thank you, program. Well, that was good, and that was super fun. However, we're not done because there's a little bit more that we got to do. And this will be kind of new code for us as well. We need now 5 hyperlinks total for 5 of the things that you put into your 2 lists. Okay, so 5 total. Some students have done 10, and that's fine. But for full credit, you're looking at 5. Anything less than that, minus credit. Now, I chose these. Again, you choose whichever ones you want. But we have an anchor tag, A, and then a hyperlink reference equals, and then we have a web address here, which is between quotation marks. You do need the quotation marks. You do need the equal sign, and you do need the href tag there, okay? And then, of course, this one has been missed quite a bit. You have to have the close of your anchor tag or the beginning of your anchor tag with that less than symbol. Now, you'll notice that I have some space in between my anchor tag with the hyperlink reference and then the close of my anchor tag. That's because I'm going to be typing stuff in here. All right? So you can put space there if you'd like. You don't necessarily have to. But, again, this also, notice, with the unordered list, I have a list element. This is an anchor tag. This is not part of my list, which means it should not be bulleted. This hyperlink, when I get done with it, will not be bulleted. If it is bulleted, I know to take points off because the code is incorrect. We do not want the hyperlinks to be part of the, or bulleted parts of the list or numbered parts of the list either. Okay, so you get to choose your own 5. Again, you need all that stuff in there. And again, I've given myself a little space to put a description of the website. So a few things on this. In your list, you've listed the things that are your favorites. The website should be related to the thing that you put in the list. All right? And we're not saying put 5 different links for the one item. We're saying it should be 5 different links for 5 different items. But the link, the website that you're using, the web address that goes to the website that you're using needs to be related to the thing that you put in your list. So, for example, I put bacon as one of my 5 favorite foods. I chose circlevmeat.com. What I would not want to do is choose ESPN.com because ESPN doesn't have anything to do with bacon. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Make sure that you find a website that's related to this thing that you like. If you can't find a website that's related to the thing you like, choose a different thing. Something that may be easier for you to find a website of something that you like. That's the red I was talking about right there. This is red or orangish on purpose. It doesn't mean it's a mistake, like I was saying about the H2 stuff, but sometimes you'll see the red and it kind of does indicate a mistake. Yeah, we only need 5. So even with what I have right now with my websites, and I've got my hyperlink reference in my anchor tag, but none of this would show up on my website. Remember, only the stuff in black is what's going to show up on your web page. I haven't actually put anything to attach this hyperlink reference to. So until I put some lettering in here, it's not going to show anything. All right. So let's get some stuff going in there. And again, what we're going to do in here is we're going to put in a description for the website, not the item. Put your description of the website, not the item. So I put blue boxes here. Those blue boxes won't be on your Chromebooks. I put these blue boxes because this is where we're going to enter the information about the website. But again, the website should have something to do with whatever your favorite item is. All right. So I'm going to point this out again. Common errors we see here. Let's go to the bacon. I love bacon. It's great. My doctor wishes I hated bacon, so I fired him and found a new doctor. But a lot of students are missing the close of this anchor tag. The opening anchor tag right here. A lot of students are missing the quotations between the web address as well. Again, some students are doing this as L1 or 1I or something like that as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, another one. Some students are just completely missing this. The end of the anchor tag. Some students are missing the end, the closing bracket of the anchor tag as well. Some students are missing the slash right there. Some students are missing the slash right here. Again, that's why it's important for you to go through character by character and see where you made your errors, because the only reason your website's not going to be exactly how it should be is if there's some kind of mistake in here, okay? So I typed in maybe more than I should have, but I described these websites, and this is what I put. There it is, okay? So again, there's quite a bit of writing. Here's what you should not do, and I'm not doing a word count on this assignment, but like for your hyperlink reference, like I said, hey, Circle V Meat will butcher your animals for you. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Circle V Meat. But what you shouldn't put is, they're awesome. Grow the heck up, okay? That's garbage. And don't submit garbage, please, because it's not very good. Garbage sucks. So now again, it's not like this is a very long description of the website, but it's more than 3 words. It's great. What the crap? All right, describe it. So there you go. And yes, I did misspell sushi house. Spelling's hard for nerds like me, but so make sure your spelling's good. But there you go. There's my descriptions. Now that I have this all in there, I would go to the save option here. I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to pull up the web page so that we can see it. And it should show everything. And I'm going to emphasize this one more time. My description of my website right here, and there's going to be hyperlinked, so it's going to be blue and underlined on my web page, is not going to be bulleted in my list. Nor will these two down here, these hyperlinks, they're not going to be numbered in these lists. If they are, then you're going to lose points. So if they are, and you see that in your web page, you got to go back to the code and fix it. Otherwise, you're going to lose points. This is what I got. So these are my favorite things. Let's look a little bit closer here. So again, we got the hyperlinks. Here's my first hyperlink for the bacon. Circle V Meat will butcher your animals for you. It's not bulleted. Shouldn't be bulleted because it's related to the bacon. It's kind of part of the bacon, part of that list. So it should not be bulleted. None of these hyperlink descriptions are bulleted or numbered, right? So again, if I see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I know to take credit off because your code, somewhere in here, you jacked up the code, all right? And once again, just like we saw last time with the paragraph is in a different format. In this case, last time was with level 1 heading. Today, we have a level 2 heading, which is different than the level 1 heading. And then the lists, both lists, are in a different format than the level 2 headings even. Okay? So if it looks like this, or pretty much like this, then you can know that you did it correct. And you should be checking the title up here as well. But we checked that earlier. Once it looks like this, you're in good shape. You can go back to Canvas, get this submitted, and you can get credit for it. Now, when you check, remember when some students have shown this, when you submit this in Canvas, it will not show this. It'll say preview not available or some kind of garbage like that. This is your preview. So as long as on the coding page you've saved it and then you're able to pull this up, then this is what I will see, even though it will not show you this preview on Canvas. The other thing I should mention is if you go to the files, if you go to your files, you don't have to go to the files and open this up all the time. As long as you have this open up in a web browser, you can just click on reload after you've saved your file, and it will automatically update whatever you're doing or whatever you have done in the code onto your web page. So this is the code right here. I'll show you guys the other code too. But right now, as beginners, this may feel like a lot of code, which it really isn't. But some of you guys are like, Mr. Sal, I need some help, and that's okay. I will help you. But you need to go through this character by character to see if you can find the mistake first. If you can't find it, come talk to me. But that means, again, if for some reason everything's being hyperlinked after you've hyperlinked the top one, it means you probably didn't close your anchor tag up here, for example. All right? So you need to compare what I have up here with what you have, character by character, and that takes time. So if you come up to me in like 10 seconds after I finish this and like, Mr. Sal, what the crap? And we're like, did you go over it character by character? I won't believe it. Okay? And I'm saying that because, for like 30 of you guys, if every one of you comes and asks Mr. Sal, hey, can you look at my code? That's going to take a lot longer than I have till the end of the period, okay? Which is why you need to go through it like a coder would and have to figure out where you've made the mistake. If you still can't figure it out, I'm happy to help you guys. But again, it's still quite a bit of code, and it may take me a little bit of time to figure out where you've made the mistake as well, okay? So check character by character. There's lots of opportunities to make mistakes. The more characters you have in code, the more opportunity you have to make mistakes. It's just part of just the way the animal works, okay? But the rest of the time is yours to get this finished and get it submitted.